Hello, everyone. My name is Destiny Anderson, and I am going to be doing a TED Talk on leadership. So, for the past 3 years, I've been learning a lot about leadership, what it is, what it takes, and what I've come to find out is that there is no set way to be a leader. There are many different types of leaders, there are many traits of leaders, and pretty much anybody can be a leader if they want to. It's funny because I today received an award called the Rising Star Award for student leadership. And before today, I'd never envisioned myself as a leader. Yeah, I'm a good student. Yes, I get good grades. Yes, I help people out when they need it. But never, ever did I think of myself as a leader because I have a lot of flaws that I don't think leaders should have. But like I said, I'm slowly starting to learn that it doesn't take much to be a leader. It's a big responsibility, but if you really want to be a leader, you can do it. So here's my leadership talk. I decided to pick somebody from my leadership case that I look up to. Growing up in grade school, middle school, high school, around Black History Month, we always got the talks about all the different people who helped with the civil rights movement, slavery, and one person that always stuck out to me and was my favorite was Thurgood Marshall. I think this is because I always had a passion to go into the field of law. Right now I am pursuing a degree in business administration and pre-law. And so just hearing his story always inspired me, and it was always my favorite story to hear, always my favorite story to talk about. So I decided to do my leadership case on him. I did mine a little bit different. I did mine's piggybacking off of an article that I read last semester in my leadership seminar class. And I'm going to get into that. But first, let me give you a little bit of background about Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. So, Thurgood Marshall was originally named Thurgood Marshall, and he was born on July 2nd in 1908 in Baltimore, Maryland, to his mother Norma and his father William. Growing up, Thurgood's father instilled in him the importance of the Constitution, and this had a big impact on his life, causing him to pursue a law degree after completing his undergrad at Lincoln University. He went on to Howard University Law School, where he came under the direction and mentorship of Charles Hamilton Houston, who was a graduate from the Harvard Law School. After completing law school in 1933, Thurgood Marshall returned home to Baltimore and opened his first practice. His big break came 2 years later when he won his first big case, Murray versus Pearson. After that case, Marshall went on to do more great things, such as becoming chief counsel for the National Advancement of Colored People and being asked to help draft constitutions for up-and-coming nations. He even went on to win the 1954 Brown versus the Board of Education case, ending legal segregation. Later, he became Supreme Court Justice in 1967. He held this position for 24 years, finally retiring in 1991. 2 years later, he sadly passed away at the age of 84. So now that you know a little bit about Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, I'm going to jump into the leadership aspect of this talk. Last semester, I was in my leadership seminar class, and I read this article called The 5 Practices of Exemplary Leadership. It was written by James Kozes and Barry Posner, and pretty much what they were saying is that yes, there are a lot of traits for leaders and anybody can be a leader, but there are 5 things that a leader must do to be an exemplary leader. The first is to model the way. Modeling the way is pretty much modeling the behavior that you expect of others. You can't have followers and expect them to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. The second is to inspire a shared vision. Helping others see potential of the future to achieve success in a company or an organization. Third is to challenge the process, which is making changes to innovate, to grow, and to improve. The fourth is enabling others to act, giving others responsibility and delegating tasks so that everybody is accountable for their future success. And finally, you have encourage the heart, which is inspiring people to carry on. So Thurgood Marshall did a great job of having a demonstration of all 5 of these. And so we're going to go through. I'm just going to give you at least one example of each step in Thurgood Marshall's life. So the first one is to model the way. Thurgood Marshall was able to model the way by being persistent and showing how to change things that you don't agree with. Marshall was first applied to University of Maryland Law School, where he was ejected because of segregation laws. Also, after receiving his law degree and returning home to open his first practice, he pretty much didn't do so great his first year, ended up losing $3,500. That's enough to make anybody want to give up. However, Marshall decided to persevere and not give up on his dreams. Because of this, he received and won his first major case 2 years later. The case was a case that was dealing with a young man being denied admission to a college based on his race. It just so happened to be the same school that rejected Thurgood Marshall. Going forward, he used his career to fight all things he saw unjust, cultivating the civil rights movement. He was seen as inspiration for others to go out and make a change, and just by taking a look at society today, one could tell his examples were adapted. We have since given up separate but equal notion and enforced constitutional rights for all citizens. The second step is inspiring a shared vision, and this is a key practice when it comes to the success of a leader. In order to get the support and the following they need, those followers must see and desire the same things that the leader sees and desires. Marshall was a leader in the civil rights movement, but all of his work would have been in vain had he not inspired a shared vision among others. Just as Marshall's work was not only a part of the civil rights movement, but it also inspired others to make a difference. He started the fight in the courtroom, winning cases like Brown versus the Board of Education. By him fighting these injustices, others gained the courage to fight injustices in the streets, all while adapting his peaceful approach. His work and message inspired and paved the way for other civil rights leaders, such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks. Next is challenge the process. Part of being a leader is being able to make changes whether the situation is good or bad. You must be able to abandon the status quo in order to continue growth. It is safe to say that Marshall challenged the process of equality during his career. Thurgood's mentor, Charles Houston, felt very strongly about the rights of the Constitution being given to all American citizens, and Marshall soon felt very strongly about the same thing. With Houston's help, Marshall was able to overturn the ruling of Plessy versus Ferguson, ending segregation in schools. He later went on to use his role as a Supreme Court justice to try to implement certain amendments to gain rights for people of color, unlike some of his colleagues who tried to dance around the issue. Enable others to act is the next step. Like stated before, inspiring a shared vision is a key practice of leadership. However, that is only the beginning. After one inspires the shared vision, they must then encourage those people to help make that vision a reality. Marshall was able to do this in more ways than one. One key way that Marshall enabled others to act was through his work with the civil rights. He was a pioneer and a role model. Like stated before, he gave courage to new and up-and-coming activists to join the fight against inequality, and held his colleagues accountable to make sure these rights were implemented. Encouraging the heart is the final exemplary practice of leadership. Encouraging the heart is simply encouraging someone to not give up. Working hard towards a goal can cause anyone to grow tired and want to quit. As a leader, it is important to encourage those people to push past their physical and mental fatigue and keep working towards the goal. Marshall was able to do this in the latter part of his career. While Justice Marshall was beginning to make great strides in equality, many of his supporters had started to grow tired of the slow process and was ready to see immediate results. However, in his speech given in Chicago in 1942, he assured people that he was doing all that he could to bring to the light the wrongdoings of the justice system. He encouraged people to be patient and to keep up the fight. All in all, Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall was a man of many accomplishments. Through his career, he was able to make great strides in the civil rights movement, as well as make great adjustments to the rule of equality. However, his greatest accomplishments was paving the way for more young adults like myself to come after him and continue to make great changes in the world by modeling the way, inspiring a shared vision, challenging the process, enabling others to act, and encouraging the heart. This not only made Marshall a great man, but a great and exemplary leader. After doing the study, it just reaffirmed that I am a huge fan of Thurgood Marshall because of all of his accomplishments that he made. And knowing that without him and people like him inspiring a vision for equality, that I wouldn't be where I am today, which is at a university that shows diversity and winning leadership awards. So if you can take one thing away from this, just know that anybody can be a leader and anybody can be an exemplary leader. You just have to want it. Thank you.